Welcome back to Soilpower, fellow gardener. Let me start with a confession. For years, I mulched correctly. I used compost, straw, leaves, wood chips, all the right materials, at the right time. My garden improved, sure, but something was missing. The soil looked alive on the surface, yet, underneath, it still felt sluggish, compacted, and slow to respond. Then I stumbled upon a mulch approach so simple, so effective, that it quietly transformed my soil in one season. Earthworms exploded in number. Fungal threads spread like fine lace. Plants rooted deeper, stayed cooler, and bounced back faster from stress. The shocking part? Almost no gardening experts talk about it. Let's break it down. Most gardeners treat mulch like a blanket. They spread it evenly, step back, and assume the job is done. But soil isn't a static surface. It's a living system that breathes, feeds, and communicates constantly with plants. Here's the problem. A single-layer mulch, no matter how organic, feeds only part of the soil food web. It favors certain microbes while starving others. Over time, this creates an imbalance, especially in gardens that rely heavily on compost or wood chips alone. Healthy soil needs diversity above ground to build diversity below ground. And that's where the real trick comes in. The secret is layered, carbon-green mulch cycling, not at once, but in sequence. Instead of applying one type of mulch and leaving it there, you deliberately stack and refresh two contrasting organic layers, a soft, nitrogen-rich green layer directly on the soil, topped with a dry, carbon-rich brown layer. This isn't sheet mulching, it isn't lasagna gardening, and it's definitely not just adding more mulch. It's about mimicking how forest floors actually build soil. In nature, fresh plant material falls first, then it's protected by older, drier material. Soil life feeds upward and downward at the same time. That interaction is what doubles biological activity. When you place a green layer directly on the soil, fresh weeds, chopped cover crops, kitchen scraps, or soft plant trimmings, bacteria respond immediately. They multiply fast, breaking down proteins and sugars. This bacterial bloom attracts protozoa and nematodes, which release plant-available nutrients right at the root zone. Then comes the magic. The brown layer on top, dry leaves, straw-shredded stems, or wood chips, slows decomposition just enough to invite fungi. Fungal networks bridge nutrients across the soil, connecting plant roots and stabilizing carbon deep underground. Bacteria feed fast. Fungi build long-term structure. By feeding both at once, you unlock exponential soil life, not gradual improvement. This approach doesn't fit neatly into gardening categories. It's not a product you can sell. It doesn't rely on bagged mulch schedules or universal rules. More importantly, it requires observation. You have to watch moisture, smell the soil, feel texture changes, and adjust layers over time. That kind of intuitive gardening doesn't scale well into mainstream advice, but it works unbelievably well in real gardens. At Soilpower, we care about results, not trends. So here's how you get started. Start with bare or lightly mulched soil. If the ground is dry, water lightly before you begin. Moist soil wakes microbes faster. Lay down a thin green layer, no more than a few centimeters thick. This could be freshly cut weeds, without seeds, vegetable trimmings, green leaves, or chopped legumes. Spread it directly on the soil surface, keeping it loose and airy. Immediately cover it with a thicker brown layer. This layer protects the green material from drying out, blocks sunlight, and regulates temperature. You're creating a controlled decomposition zone, not a compost pile. Over time, the green layer disappears first. When you see that happening, repeat the process. Always green first, brown on top. This cycling is the trick. The soil will darken and soften noticeably. When you pull the mulch back, you'll see fungal threads binding particles together. Earthworms will concentrate right under the green layer, not deep below. Plants respond fast. Leaves become thicker. Growth evens out. Water retention improves dramatically, especially in hot or dry climates. Over seasons, this method builds stable humus faster than compost alone. Carbon moves deeper, soil aggregates form naturally, roots push further down, accessing nutrients that were previously unavailable. You're no longer feeding plants, you're feeding the system that feeds plants. That's real soil power. Too much green material at once can cause smell and matting. Keep it thin and always cover it. Skipping the brown layer exposes nutrients to loss and dries out microbes, and don't disturb the soil underneath. This system works best with minimal digging. Patience matters, but not much. The biology responds quickly when conditions are right. Whether you're growing vegetables, fruit trees, ornamentals, or restoring tired land, this mulch trick adapts to any scale. It's cheap, regenerative, and works with materials you already have. Once you try it, going back to single-layer mulch feels like leaving half the soil asleep. Great gardens aren't built by working harder, they're built by working with biology. This simple mulch cycling technique taps into processes nature has used for millions of years, and once you see the results, you'll wonder why it isn't common knowledge. If this article helped you see mulch differently, share it with a fellow gardener who's still fighting their soil. And don't forget to subscribe to Soilpower on YouTube for more deep, practical insights that bring your soil and your garden fully to life. Your soil is alive. Feed it wisely.